The year is 1939. The world teeters on the brink of war, but this time, the rumble of tanks is accompanied by the whirring of gears and the clanging of metal. Nations haven't just stockpiled weapons and trained men. They've unleashed a new kind of soldier onto the battlefield, the fighting robot. The concept of war machines wasn't entirely new in the 1930s. Remote-controlled tanks like the Soviet Teletank and German Goliath were already in development. However, these were rudimentary tools, more akin to explosive delivery systems than autonomous combatants. The true fighting robots of World War II were a product of a technological arms race fueled by fear and ambition. Germany, with its emphasis on mechanization, pioneered the Panzerkampfautomat, PK, a hulking bipedal machine clad in thick armor and wielding twin machine guns. The Allies countered with the Sentinel, a lighter, more agile quadruped robot ideal for scouting and flanking maneuvers. These early models were expensive, prone to breakdowns, and easily disabled by well-placed explosives. But as the war progressed, the technology rapidly evolved. The introduction of robots fundamentally altered the nature of warfare. Trenches, once a gruesome stalemate, became death traps against relentless robotic assaults. Artillery fire became more sophisticated as robots with advanced targeting systems rained down shells with pinpoint accuracy. Traditional air combat took on a new dimension with dogfights between heavily armored drone planes. Despite their growing sophistication, robots were not invincible. Landmines could cripple them, EMP blasts could disable their control systems, and dedicated anti-robot infantry units emerged, armed with specialized weaponry and tactics. The battlefield became a graveyard of twisted metal limbs and smoldering wrecks. The psychological impact of fighting machines was immense. Soldiers who once faced their enemies head-on now battled cold, unfeeling automatons. The lines between acceptable casualties and war crimes blurred as the concept of human sacrifice took on a new, mechanized form. However, amidst the mechanized carnage, stories of heroism emerged. Soldiers who honed their skills operating and repairing robots became the new elite. Nicknamed robot tamers, or steel shepherds, these individuals played a crucial role in coordinating robot attacks and maximizing their effectiveness. Legendary figures like Colonel Volkov, commander of the Soviet Red Steel Legion, or Sergeant Ramirez of the American Iron Rangers became symbols of a new kind of courage in a mechanized war. The war ended with the use of atomic bombs, leaving the true potential of robot soldiers largely unrealized. However, the world was forever changed. The specter of robotic warfare haunted the post-war landscape, leading to international treaties aimed at limiting the development and deployment of autonomous weapons. The legacy of the Steel Legions is a complex one. While they brought unimaginable destruction, they also pushed technological boundaries and fostered a new kind of human-machine synergy. The question remains, were these steel soldiers a terrifying harbinger of the future, or a necessary stepping stone towards a more efficient, perhaps less bloody, way of war? The introduction of robots into World War II wasn't just about battlefield tactics. Here are some unforeseen consequences that could have rippled through the global landscape. The race for robotic supremacy would have fueled an intense campaign of industrial espionage and sabotage. Spies would infiltrate factories, steal blueprints, and disrupt production lines. Governments would use propaganda to paint their robots as heroic defenders while demonizing the enemy's machines. Public perception of the war would be heavily influenced by the portrayal of these metallic soldiers. A black market for robot parts and technology would inevitably emerge, with rogue elements seeking to exploit this destructive power for personal gain. Neutral countries, caught between warring powers with robotic armies, would face a difficult choice. Remaining neutral could invite invasion, while joining the fight could mean deploying their own robots, potentially escalating the conflict. A populace traumatized by the horrors of robotic warfare could develop a deep distrust of machines. This could lead to social unrest and a backlash against automation in general. Despite the rise of robots, the human element would remain crucial in World War II. Skilled commanders would still be essential for devising strategies, coordinating robot attacks, and adapting to changing battlefield conditions. Leaders who could inspire their troops and make difficult decisions in the heat of battle would be invaluable. Cracking enemy robot control systems and deciphering battlefield transmissions would be paramount. Skilled codebreakers and hackers would become invaluable assets, potentially turning the tide of a battle. Propaganda targeting enemy soldiers and civilians could exploit the fear and unease surrounding robots. Highlighting the soulless nature of machine warfare could erode enemy morale and public support. Keeping the robots operational would be a constant challenge. Skilled engineers and mechanics would be crucial for maintaining these complex machines, ensuring a steady supply of steel soldiers on the front lines. The use of robots could be a double-edged sword. A nation that relied heavily on robots for warfare might face accusations of cowardice and a devaluing of human life. Nations that focused on training effective human soldiers, utilizing robots strategically, could potentially gain the moral high ground in the eyes of the world. The conclusion of World War II with atomic bombs wouldn't necessarily mean the end of robotic development. Here's how the Cold War might have unfolded with the specter of robot warfare looming large. The Cold War wouldn't just be about nuclear stockpiles. It would be a race to develop the most advanced and lethal robots. Espionage and counter-espionage would intensify as both sides sought to steal each other's technological secrets. Superpowers might not directly confront each other on the battlefield, but they could sponsor proxy wars, deploying robots to fight in third-world countries, testing their capabilities and ideologies in a real-world setting. The borders between East and West would become even more heavily fortified, patrolled by advanced robotic sentries and automated defense systems. The space race wouldn't just be about scientific exploration. It would become a race to establish military dominance in space. Both sides would develop robotic satellites for reconnaissance and potentially even weaponized space platforms. Movement ***, a global movement against robotic warfare might emerge, fearing an arms race that could escalate beyond human control and lead to the complete dehumanization of war. This movement could push for international treaties banning or restricting the development of autonomous weapons. The impact of robotic warfare wouldn't be limited to the battlefields or the Cold War. It would have a profound effect on society as a whole. Societies that relied heavily on robots for warfare might become increasingly militarized, with a greater emphasis on technological advancement and military preparedness. The ease with which robots could be deployed and sacrificed on the battlefield could lead to a devaluing of human life in general. Public opinion on war and violence could become more callous. As robots became more sophisticated and even integrated with human soldiers through exoskeletons or neural interfaces, the line between man and machine would continue to blur. This could raise ethical questions about the nature of warfare and the very definition of a soldier. The development and deployment of robots would fuel a massive military-industrial complex with immense resources dedicated to the creation and maintenance of these war machines. Soldiers who witnessed the horrors of robotic warfare or even interacted with these machines on a daily basis might develop a new kind of PTSD, struggling to reconcile the cold, emotionless nature of robotic violence with the human cost of war. The world shaped by fighting robots in World War II would be a far cry from the one we know. It would be a world forever changed by the horrors of mechanized warfare, a world where the line between man and machine is forever blurred, and where the ghosts of steel soldiers haunt a fragile peace.